Swooning into News Talk 93 FM. We're swooning there right here on News Talk, heard everywhere. And we are going over to the Power Factor where I love the word trailblazers, what Empress Shai said before, trailblazers, female trailblazers who are just out there. Yes, Power Factor, power of the woman. Paula Sales. Have I got that right? Is Paula, are you hearing me?
I am hearing you. Hi, Susie.
Hi, and how are you doing? You hearing me loud and clear?
I am hearing you loud and clear. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
I am hearing you like you're just sat right here in the studio.
Okay, great. So
Yes.
it's Paula Sells Jamaica.
Oh, what was I saying? Paula Sales? Paula
Yes.
Sales? Oh, sorry
It's
about
Paula
that.
Sells Jamaica. And that's my company's name, Paula Sells Jamaica and Associates Realty Company Limited. But my name is Paula Roper Bacchas.
Okay, Paula Roper Bacchas. So, Paula, that's a big name and a big title. Big name and a big title. Let me ask you something. 2014. And by the way, welcome to the show and thank you for being our Power Factor this week. Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. You're welcome. Well, we're talking about landlord and tenants. And we're talking, and you're the perfect person because you're in real estate. But before we go into that, tell me, prior to 2014, what was you doing and what made you start the real estate in 2014? Very competitive industry as it is.
It is very competitive. Okay, so when I left Northern Caribbean University in 2005, I started to lecture actually at the Monique College in St. Anne and St. Mary. I did that for 2 years. Then I went back to the University of the West Indies and did a master's in heritage studies. After that, I actually worked in a law office because my first degree was a minor in pre-law, and I was debating in going into law. However, I didn't really like working in a law office. So one day I just got up and I said, you know what, I'm going to chart a new trail and I'm going into real estate because I always had a love for real estate.
So it was a decision that you took just like that, or you thought about it?
So my husband had a friend who was in real estate in 2006. That was shortly after I finished my first degree, and he used to tell us about the industry. So at that time I was thinking about it, but I never made any effort. I knew from him I had gotten, what all the steps I would need to take to get into the industry, but I never took any steps towards it until 2013 when I went to the University of Technology. That is where the course had originally been from the 80s, from the 1980s. However, I did it in 2013 at the University of Technology. However, in 2016, the Real Estate Board of Jamaica formed their own institute called the Real Estate Training Institute, and they took over the course in 2016. But that was after I had already completed. It's called the Salesman course. So it's called the Real Estate Salesman course because when you initially start out in real estate, you have to start out as a salesman. So when you refer to someone as an agent, they're not actually an agent. A lot of them are salesmen. Majority of them are salesmen. So when you're a salesman, you have to work under what is called in Jamaica a dealer, a real estate dealer. So after being in the industry from 2014 to 2018, I went back to school to the Real Estate Training Institute now and did the real estate dealers course. And that is between, I want to say, about an 8-month course. And then after I completed that, I did one, it's supposed to be a minimum of 1 year, but I did 18 months of an attachment. It's basically a trainee. I was a trainee dealer for around 18 months where I continued to work underneath my real estate dealer, and she trained me in order to get my real estate dealer's license. So I completed that in September of 2020 and started my company in, I got the license in October 2020, and then I registered my company in November 2020.
Wow. So you actually started your company smack bang in the middle of COVID.
A pandemic. All right, so what a lot of persons don't really understand about real estate is that when you're a salesman, you're actually a small business owner. But for legal purposes, you have to work under a dealer. However, the dealer owes you nothing. At the end of the day, if you do not make a sale or do a rental of a property, you are not paid. So they owe you nothing. It's just legal to make sure that you're keeping within the legal frameworks of the Jamaican government and you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, especially as it pertains to anti-money laundering laws. However, you do not get a salary from your dealer. You actually, as a salesman, pay your dealer. Wow. So for every dollar that I make, my dealer got a percentage of that.
Okay. So, yes. So Paula, I saw in your bio that you've won a lot of awards, right?
I don't think so, but I keep, especially like when it comes to education, I keep a very, very tight hold on my education. I'm always trying to update myself, always trying to stay up with all the education. So a lot of them are just certificates. I have certificates in anti-money laundering laws, different international designations and trainings and certifications. But it's just mostly educational based, because if you're not keeping up in this industry, you're falling behind, and you don't have no time to fall behind.
How is the industry now, though? Because you mentioned as well that you have been working with a lot of international people from UK, Canada. How is that now, though, during these times?
Okay, so as it pertains to my business, majority of my clientele, I would say about 60 to 70% is international. I'm also a certified international property specialist. It's just a big title to say that you've been trained to deal with international persons. So I have more of an international presence than a lot of other agents because of that certification and because of all of my marketing that I do internationally. However, since the pandemic, stuff has slowed down internationally because we don't have the traveling persons coming to the island as much. But what is actually surprising, I've been selling a lot of houses sight unseen to international persons. Wow. I go in, I take videos and so forth, and they buy them. Wow. I sold a house recently that the person has never been here because they're in England and the place is locked down. So they have never seen the house physically. They've sent family members and friends from locally, but they physically have never been to the property. So I've been doing a lot of that.
Wow. So you're still doing your business. You're still doing your thing. Tell us some of the challenges then, because we're talking about challenges and boundaries. That people have with the landlord, what they shouldn't cross and stuff like that, boundaries. What are some of the challenges you've had in terms of either through rentals or sales?
Well, just to stay on topic as it pertains to tenant issues, the majority that I've found is that persons who they come in with recommendations and so forth, and they say that they're good tenants. However, when they actually start to live in the person's property, they maybe become delinquent on paying their rent on time, or stuff like that. They might also damage the person's property. So a few years ago, I actually had a client of mine who I was working with the renter, not the landlord. I was working with the person who rented the property. And the lady had one of those countertops that it's not marble or granite or any of those. It was one of the plastic kind of countertops. Linoleum, something along that line. And the landlord told her specifically, do not put anything hot on it because it will burn. And she gave her some pads to put hot pots on. And the lady still put a hot pot on the countertop and burned it. Yeah. So when she was moving out, the landlord did not give her back her deposit, told her that she would have to fix the countertop before and then reimburse her whatever is left afterwards. So it turned out that nothing was left after she had fixed the countertop, because she just couldn't just take out that section. She had to take out a whole section to make it uniform and to make it look presentable for the other tenants. So the actual tenant threatened to sue her because she was a returning resident. She had not lived in Jamaica for many years, and I think she had lived in the States. And she threatened to sue, but she was in the wrong. She was in the wrong because we had recent photographs of the property before she took possession, and we showed her on the photographs where that pot mark was not on the countertop, and she disputed it, but she knew in her heart of hearts. So she confessed afterwards that a family member was the one who burnt the countertop. So we explained to her that even if it's not her who did it, it's her responsibility. So she's the person who had signed the lease, occupied the place. It was her responsibility. So she can't sue us for her relative destroying the person's countertop.
Right. No, she can't. No, she can't. So, I mean, and that puts off landlords then from renting properties, and I guess, because I don't know if I'd invested so much money in the property, because, they have reality TV shows, we spoke about before, where, tenants move into properties and just basically, just wreck it, just absolutely wreck it. But, yeah. But, your Instagram, it's Paula Sells Jamaica Reality.
It's Paula Sells Jamaica.
I can't say
Paula
that
Sells
word.
Jamaica.
Paula Sells Jamaica.
Paula Sells Jamaica. So I'm most active on IG and YouTube. So I have all of my handles are Paula Sells Jamaica. That's PAULASELLS. Jamaica is spelled out. So if you want to find me on YouTube, if you want information about buying or selling or renting in Jamaica, my YouTube channel is the best option for you because it's educational based.
Right.
So, yes, so I do a lot of educational videos.
Yeah, I saw one the other day, how to buy a property from NHT, right?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, you do. I have to agree, you have some very interesting and informative YouTube videos.
If I have any virtual what? Yes, I do. I have a beautiful one in Mandeville I listed recently. It's actually 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Beautiful, right in Caledonia Meadows, which is about 5 minutes outside of the center of Mandeville town there. And it's going for $350,000 US, and the price is negotiable, not too much negotiable because we do have a valuation. What I do a lot different from a lot of agents and agencies is that I have valuations on majority of the properties that I sell. 90 to 95% of my properties, I have the owners appraise them before we put it onto the market, because I don't want to get to the situation where we have someone who is willing to buy it, and when they get it appraised, it's undervalued or it's overvalued, and then we have issues. Either the owner is upset that we listed his property too low, or we get to the appraisal and the person's using a mortgage, and you know that the mortgage company is not going to approve a mortgage for a property if it is overpriced. So we always try to do appraisals on properties so that when you get to the actual table to conclude a sale, we don't have any issues. We know exactly what the price of the property is, and if the owner wants to take less, it is fine. It is up to them, but we know the appraised value of the property, so everybody is informed.
Well, absolutely, and I think that is very important to know, because when you run in there and you're giving, prices on properties or offers on property, it's important to know that the valuations are done, and in particularly above board, because you have to get some reputable realty people out here. But Paula, thank you very much for talking to us, and we'll definitely give out your IG and your YouTube before the end of the show, and anybody who wants to rent a house from a female entrepreneur in the realty, check out Paula Sells Jamaica. Thank you for being our Power Factor this week. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.